Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the hidden stories in your favorite company's filings. And today it looks like Odyssey Health is trying to sneak in a little change to a loan agreement, maybe something that makes them look good, but we'll see. Alright, so Odyssey Health just put out what's called a Form 8K. This is basically a report for important events that the company needs to tell the public about right away. The big news here is that on July 31st of 2025, Odyssey Health made some changes to a bunch of loan agreements they have. These changes are called Promissory Note Amendments number 11. And get this, they're not just changing one loan, they're changing 4 of them. These loans were originally made way back in December of 2021 and have been changed a bunch of times since then, like April of 2022, June of 2022, December of 2022, December of 2022, March of 2022, December of 2023, June of 2024, and even just back in January of 2023, and even just back in January of 2023, January of 2023, January of 2023, January of 2023, and even just back in January of 2023, January of 2024. And who are these loans with? Well, it's with 2 people who are directors of the company and 2 people who are officers, meaning executives, pretty much people in charge of running the show. So what's the big change? Here's the scoop. They've extended the date when the loan has to be paid back all the way to January 31st of 2026. So instead of paying it back sooner, they now have more time. And the really interesting part is that all the other rules and conditions of these loans, nothing else is changing. They're just getting more time to pay it back. This whole deal falls under item 1 under 1 of the report, which is all about when a company makes a really important agreement. This is a pretty significant agreement because it involves loans from key people in the company. And because this is a change to a loan agreement that directly affects the company's finances, it also gets reported under item 203, which covers new financial obligations. They've also included the actual document showing this change as an exhibit. Think of it like the legal paperwork that proves this agreement happened. And finally, they list all the supporting documents for this report under item 9.01. Here you can see exhibit 10.1 is that very form of amendment number 11 to the promissory note we just talked about. And exhibit 104 is just the standard electronic filing information for the cover page. And who signed off on this report? Well, it's Joseph Michael Redmond, the Chief Executive Officer of Odyssey Health himself, Topio. So let's break down what this practically means for Odyssey Health and for investors. This filing isn't about massive financial results or a big strategic shift like launching a new product or a merger. Instead, it's a quiet but important update on how the company is managing its debt, specifically debt owed to some of its own leaders. Think about it this way: when a company's own executives or directors lend money to the company, it can be a sign of confidence in the company owes money to its leaders, and when that money is due, they have to pay it back by extending the maturity date on these loans to January 31st of 2026. Odyssey Health is essentially getting a bit more breathing room. It means they don't have to worry about repaying these specific amounts of money in the immediate future. This could be for a variety of reasons. Maybe the company is facing a cash crunch and needs to keep its funds for operations or growth. Or it could be that they're planning a larger financial move and want to keep their options open. The fact that all other terms and conditions remain the same tells us they're not renegotiating interest rates or changing the fundamental structure of the debt. They're just pushing back the repayment deadline. From an investor's perspective, this isn't necessarily a red flag, especially since the lenders are insiders, but it does highlight the company's reliance on internal financing and the need to manage its debt obligations effectively. If Odyssey Health were struggling financially and needed to constantly extend loan deadlines from its own executives, that would be a bit more concerning. But in this case, it seems like a straightforward adjustment to manage their cash flow. One thing to consider is the history of these amendments. We've seen multiple amendments to these same notes over the years. This suggests a pattern of extending repayment terms which might indicate a long-term need for this flexibility, or perhaps a less than perfect timeline for repayment in the original plan. However, without seeing the actual amounts of these loans, we can't say for sure how significant this extension is. If it's a small amount, it's less impactful. If it's a large chunk of their debt, it's more noteworthy. In a nutshell, Odyssey Health is just adjusting its debt schedule, giving itself more time to repay loans made by key people within the company. This allows them to manage their cash more fluidly and focus perhaps on other business priorities. Now, looking at this filing broadly, Odyssey Health's strategy seems to be focused on managing its financial commitments and maintaining relationships with its leadership team. This isn't a report packed with explosive growth numbers or major market shifts. Instead, it's a look at the behind-the-scenes financial nitty-gritty that keeps a company running. From a Warren Buffett-style analysis perspective, we'd want to know why these extensions are happening. Is it a sign of careful financial planning or a symptom of cash flow challenges? We don't have enough financial detail in this specific filing to make that call, but it's something to watch. The key takeaway here is that the company is proactive in managing its debt obligations, especially those with its own insiders, to ensure operational stability. Alright, that's our quick decode of Odyssey Health's latest filing. What are your thoughts on these loan adjustments and the company's approach to managing its finances? Let us know in the comments below if you found this breakdown helpful. Please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into corporate filings. Also, don't forget to join our growing community on Discord. Check the link in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.